Oh, honey, if you'd told me 20 years ago that I'd be sitting here on this creaky porch swing in the sticky Atlanta heat, nursing a lukewarm sweet tea and wondering how my own blood could turn so cold, I'd have laughed right in your face. But here we are. It was Christmas Eve, the kind where the magnolias hang heavy with frost-kissed petals, and the whole neighborhood smells like pecan pie baking in a dozen ovens. I'd just finished wrapping the last gift, a hand-knitted sweater for little Jamal, my grandbaby, with those chunky cables that took me 3 weeks of hot flashes and tangled yarn to get right. My hands, these old spotted things that VE needed more biscuits than I can count, were still buzzing from the ribbon. I stepped out to the porch to breathe, to listen to the distant carols from the block party down the street, where folks were laughing over eggnog and swapping stories about whose poinsettia bloomed first this year. That's when I heard it. The front door creaked open behind me, but it wasn't my son Marcus with his easy grin or little Jamal tugging at my skirt for one more story. No, it was Kendra, my daughter-in-law, her voice slicing through the night like a winter wind. "Charlotte, we need to talk. Now." She didn't wait for an invitation, just marched out in her fuzzy slippers, arms crossed over that cashmere robe I'd bought her last Mother's Day, the one that cost more than my grocery budget for a month. Her eyes, usually so sharp and ambitious, were hard as river rocks. "This house, it's not working anymore. Boundaries, Charlotte. We all need them. Boundaries." The word hung there mocking me as the first fat snowflake, rare as hen's teeth in Georgia, drifted down and melted on my cheek. I thought it was a tear at first, but no, it was the sky crying for what was coming. Marcus stood in the doorway, silent as a shadow, his broad shoulders slumped like he was carrying the weight of the world, but too ashamed to say it. He wouldn't meet my eyes. And just like that, in the glow of the twinkling lights I'd strung up myself, my world cracked wide open. But that was just the beginning, darlings. The real storm? It had been brewing for years, hidden behind all the love I poured out like Mama's gravy on Sunday roast. Love that built dreams, mended hearts, and, God help me, thought it bought loyalty. Turns out, in this family, loyalty's just another word for leverage. Let me take you back, because to understand the knife twist, you gotta feel the hug first. My name's Charlotte Hayes, and at 62, I'm what you might call a southern black grandma with a backbone forged in the fires of too many hot flashes and not enough air conditioning. Widowed these past 8 years, Lord, that man, my Elijah, he went quick from the cancer, leaving me with a hole in my chest bigger than the Grand Canyon and a house in East Atlanta that echoed like a tomb. But I filled it with family. Marcus was my rock, my only boy, 35 now, with his daddy's quiet strength and my stubborn streak. He married Kendra 6 years back, a firecracker from the old neighborhood, all dreams and drive, with skin like polished mahogany and eyes that could sell ice to Eskimos. She wanted a bakery. Oh, how she talked about it over late-night kitchen tables, her sketches spilling across my Formica counters like wildflowers. I remember the first time she showed me those drawings. It was a muggy August evening, the cicadas screaming like they owned the night. We'd just put Jamal down, my grandbaby, 2 years old then, with those chubby cheeks and curls that frizzed up in the humidity like mine used to. Marcus was at work, pulling doubles at the auto shop, so it was just us girls. Kendra slid the notebook across, her hands trembling a little. "Charlotte, it's silly, I know. But imagine it," Kendra's sweet southern bites. "Right here in the heart of the city. Red velvet cupcakes with cream cheese frosting thick as sin, peach cobbler that melts in your mouth, macarons with a twist of praline." Her voice cracked on the last word, and I saw it then, the hunger in her, not just for sugar, but for something solid. Something hers. I didn't hesitate. "Silly? Baby girl, that's a vision." I pulled her into a hug, smelling her lavender lotion mixed with the baby powder from Jamal's bath. That night, I dug into my widow's nest egg, the life insurance from Elijah that I'd been saving like a dragon hoarding gold. $5,000 to start, then another 10 when the bank laughed at her loan app. I co-signed, stood in those stuffy offices in my Sunday best, vouching for her like she was my own. "This girl's got fire." I'd tell him, chin up, even as the menopause sweats beaded under my blouse. And oh, the laughs we'd share after, driving home in my old Chevy, windows down, belting out Aretha on the radio, her head thrown back like she was already free. Those early days were pure gold, the kind that makes you believe in magic. We'd turn my kitchen into a war zone of flour clouds and batter splatters, Jamal giggling from his high chair with a wooden spoon like a scepter. I'd teach her Mama's secrets, how to temper chocolate without cursing the saints, or fold biscuit dough so light it could float. "You're a natural, Kendra," I'd say, wiping dough from her cheek, and she'd beam, that rare soft smile breaking through her armor. Marcus would come home bone-tired, but one whiff of her test-batch cornbread, and he'd light up, pulling me into a bear hug. "Mama, you're making us a dynasty." We'd eat at that scarred oak table, plates piled high, talking big, about expanding to a food truck, then a brick-and-mortar on Peachtree Street. Holidays were feasts. Thanksgiving with my turkey brined in sweet tea, Christmas with her gingerbread houses that looked like fairy tale castles. I'd sneak extra hugs to Jamal, whispering, "Nana's got you, sugar," as he'd nestle into my lap, his tiny heartbeat syncing with mine. But even then, there were whispers of wind before the rain. Little things like how Kendra's eyes would flick to her phone during our chats, her laugh a beat too sharp when I'd suggest tweaks to her recipes. "It's my dream, Charlotte," she'd say, not unkind but firm like a door clicking shut. Or Marcus, always the peacemaker, shushing my worries with a kiss on the forehead. "She's stressed, Ma. Give her space." Space. That word again, creeping in like kudzu. I'd brush it off, telling myself it was just growing pains. After all, I was the rock, the one who'd battled through Elijah's chemo, holding his hand while the machines beeped like angry hornets, then risen from the ashes to bake pies for the church fundraiser that raised enough for the youth group's trip to the Martin Luther King Memorial. Resilience, that's what they call it now, but back then it was just surviving. And survive I did, weaving in my own quiet joys amid the chaos. There was my garden out back, rows of collards and tomatoes that Elijah planted before the end, their leaves whispering secrets when the breeze kicked up. I'd kneel there in the dawn light, dirt under my nails, feeling the hot flashes roll through like summer thunder. Phew, those things could sneak up on you faster than a tax audit. But I'd laugh it off, muttering to the plants, "Y'all better behave or I'll hot flash you right into next week." It was my therapy before therapy was cool for us old heads. And the block parties, Lord, those were lifelines. Mrs. Jenkins next door, with her gossip sharper than a switchblade, would drag me over for spiked punch and stories about her latest online dating fiasco. "Charlotte, honey, at our age, it's swipe right or die trying." We'd cackle till our sides hurt, me hiding the ache of empty evenings when the house went quiet. One fall afternoon, as the leaves turned that burnt orange that paints Atlanta like a postcard, Kendra's big break came. A local food blogger, some hipster with a man bun and a podcast, stumbled into her pop-up at the farmer's market. Next thing, her pralines were trending, orders flooding in like the Chattahoochee after a storm. We celebrated at Dobie's Diner, that greasy spoon on Moreland with the vinyl booths that stick to your thighs and coffee strong enough to wake the dead. Jamal smeared ketchup on his fries, Marcus raised a toast with his root beer. To Mama and Kendra, the queens of the kitchen. And Kendra, she looked at me across the table, her eyes misty. "Charlotte, I couldn't have done this without you." I squeezed her hand, my throat tight. "Family sticks, baby." Through the flour and the fire. But as the orders piled up, so did the hours. Marcus started sleeping on the couch, claiming the baby monitor kept him up, but I heard the arguments through the walls, muffled voices about money, about needing room to breathe. I'd lie awake in my room at the end of the hall, the ceiling fan whirring like my worries, wondering if I was the air they were choking on. Still, I pushed it down, baked another batch of her signature peach tarts for the launch party. Because that's what nanas do, we hold the line, even when the rope starts fraying. Little did I know, the fray was just the start of the unraveling. That Christmas Eve porch talk? It wasn't a bolt from the blue. It was the storm front rolling in, dark clouds I'd ignored for too long. And as I sat there, snow dusting my shoulders, Kendra's words echoing, "Pack your things by New Year's," I felt the first real chill of betrayal seep into my bones. But hold on, loves, because the warmth we had? It made the cold that followed hurt like hellfire. If this is stirring something in you, that quiet ache of giving too much, hit that like button now, and subscribe for more of these raw truths from the heart. Bell on so you don't miss the storm. You ever wake up in the dead of night, heart pounding like you've run a marathon, only to realize it's not a dream? It's the echo of yesterday's hurt replaying on loop? That's how the weeks after that Christmas Eve blurred into January's gray slush. I didn't leave right away, no ma'am. Pride's a funny thing at my age. It keeps you standing when your knees want to buckle, but it don't pay the rent. Kendra gave me till the end of the month. For old time's sake, she said, her voice all business now, like we'd never shared a mixing bowl. Marcus? He mumbled something about talking to her, but his hugs felt like farewells, quick and hollow. So I stayed, tiptoeing through my own home like a ghost, packing boxes in the basement while the upstairs buzzed with plans for their future. Those days cracked me open slow, like a fault line snaking through Georgia red clay. Mornings, I'd slip out to the garden before the sun scorched the dew, kneeling there with my coffee, black, no sugar, the way Elijah liked it. The collards were coming up stubborn, weeds choking the good stuff, and I'd yank, out with more force than necessary, muttering, "You think you're tough? Try menopause." A bitter laugh would bubble up, because those hot flashes were back with a vengeance, turning night sweats into full-on monsoons. I'd fan myself with an old church bulletin, remembering how I'd confessed to my sister friend Dolores over bingo night. "Girl, it's like my body's throwing a rave without inviting me." We'd howled, but now it just reminded me how alone the party's gotten. Kendra's Bakery, Kendra's Sweet Southern Bites, the sign gleaming like fool's gold on the shopfront downtown, took off faster than a jackrabbit on hot pavement. Opening day was a whirlwind. Ribbon cutting with the mayor's wife, influencers snapping pics of the display case bursting with her confections. I was there, of course, apron tied tight, piping royal icing onto logo cookies till my fingers cramped. Jamal clung to my leg, his 4-year-old eyes wide at the chaos, and when he tugged my sleeve, "Nana, make the stars sparkle." I knelt down, dusted his nose with sugar, and whispered, "Watch this, baby." That moment, pure light, his giggle cut through the noise like sunshine, and for a second, I forgot the boxes waiting at home. But the doubts? They started small, like hairline fractures in a teacup. Evenings, after the shop closed, we'd gather in the kitchen for family debriefs, as Kendra called them. She'd pace, phone in hand, rattling off numbers, sales up 20%, but rent's killing us, suppliers jacking prices. Marcus nodded along, his face a mask of support, but I'd catch the flicker in his eyes, the same one he'd had as a boy when he'd rather be fishing than studying. What if we cut corners on the displays? I'd suggest, thinking of my thrift store hacks. Her head would snap up, lips thinning. "Charlotte, it's branding. We can't look cheap." Not us, she meant. Not her empire. I'd swallow the sting, pour her a glass of wine. To tomorrow, then, and watch her soften just a touch. Once, after a late rush, she collapsed into a chair, head in hands. "I had it rough growing up, you know? Daddy split when I was 6, Mama working doubles at the hospital. This bakery, it's my proof I ain't them." Her voice broke, and I reached for her hand. "Baby, you're more than proof. You're a force." We cried together that night, shoulders shaking, and I thought, see? Cracks can mend. But Marcus, oh my boy. He was pulling away like driftwood on the current. We'd always been thick as thieves, him helping with Elijah's treatments, me cheering his first promotion. Now he'd come home late, smelling of motor oil and avoidance, collapsing on the couch with the remote instead of our old ritual of porch talks. One night, after Jamal was down, I cornered him in the garage, surrounded by his toolbox and the ghosts of father-son projects. "Son, what's eating you? This ain't just the business." He wiped his hands on a rag, avoiding my gaze. "Ma, Kendra's got big plans. We need space to figure it out." "Space again." I pressed. "Figure what?" "We're family." His jaw tightened, a shadow crossing his face. "You gave so much, Ma. But it's her dream. I can't let her down." "Let her down?" "Not us. Not me." The words landed like bricks, and I backed off, heart thudding. But later, alone in my room, I let the tears come, hot, silent rivers soaking the pillow. Why did giving feel like losing? Subplots woven like threads in a quilt, some warm, some sharp. There was Dolores, my ride-or-die from the neighborhood watch, who dragged me to yoga at the community center. "Stretch out that heartache, sis." We'd downward dog our way through laughs about dating apps. Tinder? More like timber. 'Cause these fools are falling all over themselves. And her stories of solo trips to Savannah, eating oysters on the half-shell without a man cramping her style. Post-50s your power-up, Charlotte. Redesign that life like you're reupholstering the couch. It sparked something, a hobby I'd shelved, watercolors of the garden, splashed on canvas during quiet afternoons. Small joys, yes, but they kept the despair at bay. Then the first real betrayal nipped at my heels. It was Valentine's Day, the shop humming with heart-shaped cookies. I'd baked extras, chocolate-dipped strawberries, Elijah's favorite, for a surprise family dinner. But when I got home, the house was dark, a note on the fridge. "Late meeting, love, M." "Meeting?" I called Kendra, voice steady. "Everything all right?" Her paws stretched like taffy. "Yeah, just investors." "Don't wait up." Investors. At 8 p.m. on the lover's holiday. I sat at the table, strawberries wilting, and felt the first simmer of anger. Quiet, like coffee perking over a low flame. Jamal wandered in, rubbing sleepy eyes. "Nana, where's Daddy's hearts?" I scooped him up, burying my nose in his curls. Right here, sugar. Nana's got plenty. Suspense built in the whispers I wasn't meant to hear. One dawn, padding to the kitchen for water, I caught Kendra on the phone in the hall, voice low and fierce. No, Marcus, we can't keep her here forever. She's smothering the vibe. Boundaries, remember? Therapy said so. Therapy. She'd started sessions after a panic attack at the shop, and I'd cheered her on. Healing's hard work, baby. But now, smothering. The word clawed at me as I retreated, heart hammering. Was that her hidden trauma talking, the absent dad, the overburdened mom, or just ambition sharpening its claws? I didn't confront resilience, remember? Instead, I channeled it into grandparenting gold. Took Jamal to the aquarium, watching his face light up at the beluga whales gliding like clouds. Nana, they're magic. Yes, they are, I whispered, hugging him tight, memorizing the feel of his small arms around my neck. Joy amid the cracks. As February thawed into March, the selfishness bloomed overt. Kendra remodeled the shop, new counters, fairy lights, a private office upstairs, but when I offered to watch Jamal more to free her up, she waved it off. We've got a sitter now. Professional. Professional. Like I wasn't. Marcus backed her, silent as ever, but I saw the guilt in his averted eyes. Diner chats with Dolores turned confessional. Over hash browns scattered like confetti I'd spill. Am I losing them, Dee? After all I gave. She'd squeeze my hand, her gold bangles jingling. Nah, girl. You're gaining clarity. And hey, that watercolor class? Sign up. Turn pain into paint. Her words stuck, a glimmer in the gloom. But the quiet suspense mounted. Bills piling on the counter. My name mysteriously dropped from the shop's thank you emails. One evening, sorting mail, I found a letter from the bank. Cosigner notice for a new loan. Kendra's signature, bold and looping. Mine. Forged or close enough. My stomach dropped. Betrayal's first deep cut. I confronted Marcus alone, voice steady as steel. Son, what's this? He blanched. Ma, it's nothing. Expansion. Nothing. I let it go, but the simmer boiled higher. Hot flashes at night, anger flaring like matches. Why fight when surrender feels safer? Yet, in the lows, highs flickered. A block party barbecue, ribs smoking on grills, neighbors toasting my famous slaw. Mr. Hargrove, the widower down the street with the salt and pepper beard, cornered me by the cooler. Charlotte, you dance like nobody's watching. We two-stepped to Old Motown, his hand warm on my waist, and for a spin, I felt seen, not as the giver but the woman. Second chances, huh? He grinned, and I quipped back. Only if they come with fewer hot flashes. Laughter bubbled, real and rare. Still, the foundation crumbled. By month's end, boxes sealed, I loaded my Chevy under azalea blooms. Kendra's boundaries speech replayed. It's not personal, Charlotte. Just necessary. Marcus hugged me goodbye, whispering, I'll visit, Ma. Promise. Liar. As I drove off, Jamal waving from the porch, the rear view showed my life shrinking. But darlings, the real breaking? It was barreling down like a freight train. If these cracks are mirroring your own, that slow seep of doubt, like and subscribe for the truths that heal. Don't forget the bell, the storm's just revving up. April showers brought more than May flowers in Atlanta that year. They unleashed the torrent I'd been damming up since widowhood. I'd rented a tiny apartment in Decatur, close enough to pretend I was still part of the weave, but far enough that the silence screamed. The place was a shoebox, one bedroom with peeling wallpaper like old skin, a kitchenette where my dreams of family feasts curdled into solo TV dinners. Mornings, I'd stare at the coffee pot, willing it to brew companionship, but all it spat was bitterness. Get up, Charlotte. I'd growl to my reflection, lines deeper now, eyes shadowed like I'd aged a decade in months. Resilience? It was there, flickering like a bulb about to burn out, but the heartbreak, Lord, it was a flood, washing away the woman who'd once danced at block parties without a care. The escalation hit fast, heart-wrenching as a gut punch. First call came a week in, Kendra voice clipped. Jamal's fever spiked. Can you watch him? Sitter flaked. I dropped everything, my new watercolor class, the one Dolores swore would paint over the pain, and sped over. The house felt foreign, my touches erased, the quilt from the couch gone, my garden herbs uprooted for a fire pit. Jamal burned hot in my arms, whimpering Nana, and I rocked him through the night, singing Elijah's lullabies, tears mixing with his sweat. By dawn, fever broke, but so did something in me. Marcus breezed in at 7 a.m., Ty Askew. Thanks, Ma. You're a lifesaver. Lifesaver. Like I was disposable. I bit back the words. Why not you? Why not her? And left with a kiss to Jamal's forehead, the door clicking shut like a verdict. Conflicts piled like storm debris. Mother's Day weekend, I invited them for brunch at my place, pancakes fluffy as clouds, mimosas in jelly jars. They showed late, Kendra scrolling her phone, Marcus carrying store-bought roses that wilted in my vase. Big opening for the catering arm, she explained, not sorry. We ate in stilted silence, Jamal chattering about preschool bugs, until she dropped the bomb over seconds. We're selling the house. Too much upkeep. Selling. My home, where Elijah proposed under the arbor, where Marcus took his first steps. I gripped my fork, knuckles whitening. Selling? But memories. Kendra's eyes softened, almost pity maybe. Boundaries, Charlotte. Fresh start. Marcus stared at his plate. Silence roared louder than thunder. That night, alone, the anguish crested. I curled on the futon, sobs racking me like dry heaves. Raw, ugly cries for the love poured out, the sacrifices tallied like debts unpaid. Cancer had taken Elijah, but this? This was vivisection, slice by slice. Hot flashes crashed in waves, anger simmering to rage. How dare she evict the heart of the home? But underneath the nuance gnawed, Kendra's trauma, that ghost of abandonment, twisting her ambition into a shield. Was she villain or victim? I didn't hate her. I ached for us all. Subplots deepened the stakes. Dolores pulled me into her stepsister's circle. Lila, a Cali Latina transplant with curves like ocean waves and stories of widowhood that mirrored mine. Over diner coffee at the Majestic, steam curling like secrets, Lila shared. Mia Moore, after Raul died, I thought I'd shatter. But therapy after 50? It's armor, chica. Forged you new. She nudged me toward a group session, and I went, spilling in that circle of folding chairs. The giving, the ghosting, the gut twist of silence from my son. Tears flowed free, and for the first time I voiced the regret, hidden years of swallowing my dreams for theirs. I wanted to travel, see the Smokies, paint the world. The group nodded, a chorus of me too, and a glimmer sparked, resilience as rebellion. But suspense ratcheted with secrets revealed. One afternoon, picking up Jamal from preschool, my one unchallenged joy, I overheard Kendra on a call in the carpool line, voice venomous. Marcus, if she pushes back on the sale, will cut her off. Jamal needs stability, not drama. Drama? Me. My blood ran cold, phone slipping from numb fingers. Cut off. From my grandbaby? That night, I confronted Marcus at his shop, oil stains on his shirt like war paint. Son, I heard. What's this about cutting me out? He deflated, rubbing his neck. Ma, it's not. Kendra's scared. Therapy unearthed stuff. Her mom sidelined her dreams. She sees you as controlling. Controlling. The word exploded. Controlling? I built that bakery with my hands, my heart. He flinched. I know, but I love her. Can't lose this. Lose this. Not me. I stormed out, rain lashing the windshield like accusations, pulling over to wail, tearful, primal, the kind that leaves you hollow. Highs crashed into lows relentlessly. A grandparenting twist. Jamal's school play, me in the front row, beaming as he lisped his lines as a tree in the rainforest skit. His hug post-curtain. Nana, you came. Was manna, joy so pure it hurt. But post-show, Kendra whisked him away. Bedtime routine. Boundaries. Sidelined again, the pain twisted like a knife. Humor crept in, bitter as black coffee. Dolores and I at the diner, me quipping. Boundaries? More like barbed wire. Next they'll fence off my hot flashes. We snorted over pie, but the laugh died quick. Twists piled. A letter from the lawyer arrived, eviction formalities, my cosigner status revoked for the new loan. Forgery confirmed. I drove to the bakery, heart pounding, confronting Kendra amid the flour-dusted counters. You used my name. Why? Her face crumpled, then hardened. It was one time. Desperate measures. You always fix things, Charlotte. Why not this? Desperate. The motivation layered. Ambition laced with fear, her trauma a shadow puppet. We argued, voices rising, me accusing, her defending, until Marcus burst in, pulling her away. Enough. Ma, just let it go. Let it go. As if love was a balloon. The stakes peaked at Jamal's 5th birthday. A lavish affair at the park, bouncy house, cake towering like a monument to excess. I arrived with wrapped Legos, only to find my name off the invite list. Whispers from neighbors. Heard about the fallout. Isolation clawed, but inner strength flickered. I crashed the party anyway, scooping Jamal mid-slide. Nana! His squeal was worth the stares. Kendra approached, eyes stormy. This is too much. Too much. Me. Marcus watched, silent, turning away. That gut wrench. My boy complicit. As summer humidity thickened, turmoil roiled. A loyal subplot turned. Mrs. Jenkins, the gossip queen, confessed over porch tea. Saw Kendra with that investor. Cozy, if you know what I mean. Cheating? Suspense coiled, overheard plots, hidden motives. I dismissed it, but doubt festered. Health wove in, a doctor's call, elevated pressure from stress. Watch the salt, Mrs. Hayes, and the heartache. Hot flash humor. Doc, my pressure's higher than gas prices. Blame the family reunion that wasn't. By section's end, the breaking point shattered. Eviction notice taped to my door, son's silence deafening. I sat on the stoop, tears streaming, anger simmering to resolve. But glimmers, a second chance coffee with Mr. Hargrove, his gentle, "You're enough, Charlotte," hinted at dawn. The storm raged, but I was learning to dance in the rain. If this breaking is echoing your battles, darlings, like now, subscribe for the raw ride. Bell on, the shadows are calling. July in Atlanta ain't for the faint-hearted. Heat waves that turn the air to soup, mirages dancing off the asphalt like cruel jokes. That's how my solitude felt. Thick, unrelenting, with twists lurking in every shimmer. The eviction hit like a sucker punch, forcing me into that Decatur walk-up for good, my Chevy's trunk stuffed with the remnants of a life. I'd unpack at midnight, Elijah's photo propped on the sill, his smile accusing. What happened to us, woman? Nights stretched endless, the tick of the wall clock mocking my widow's loneliness amplified tenfold. Menopause confessions to the mirror. Hot flashes and cold shoulders. 50+ is a battlefield, ain't it? I'd laugh, hoarse and hollow, then collapse into bed, dreams tangled with betrayals. Despair descended slow, a velvet noose tightening. Days blurred. Mornings at the senior center volunteering, sorting donations, my hands steady but soul adrift. Charlotte, you light up the place, the coordinator'd say, but inside? Shadows. I'd text Marcus. Jamal's birthday pics? Miss y'all, radio silence. Kendra's posts flooded my feed. Bakery expansions, family selfies cropped to exclude me. Each like I didn't tap felt like erasure. One evening, diner coffee gone cold, anger simmered. Silent sun, power playing DIL, family my foot. Dolores dragged me to a comedy night. Laugh it out, sis. And we howled at bits on aging. Dating over 50? It's like Black Friday. Everything's marked down, but nobody's buying. Humor amid tears, yes, but the quiet rage boiled, visions of confronting them flashing like lightning. Suspense built with isolation's peaks, twists like the hidden letter. Sorting junk mail, an envelope tumbled out, unopened, postmarked months back. Marcus's handwriting. Ma, I'm sorry. Kendra's pushing. I love you. Tucked inside a photo, us three at the bakery opening, arms linked, joy frozen. My knees buckled, tears hot as asphalt. Why hide it? Overheard plots echoed. I'd call Dolores, spilling. Found this. He's trapped, D. She sighed. Or complicit. Protect your heart, girl. Subplots layered depth. Grandparenting pain twisted sweet sour. A rare visit, Kendra dropping Jamal for an emergency, her eyes evasive. We baked cookies, his small hands in mine, flour dusting his lashes. Nana, why don't you live with us anymore? Heart shatter. Grown-ups need space, sugar. But Nana's always here. His hug lingered, a lifeline, but as she collected him, 2 hours flat, the sidelining stung. Joy mixed with ache, like sweet tea laced with bitters. Health journeys wove raw. Pressure meds now, doctor's orders, but stress birthed migraines that pounded like accusations. Cancer took Elijah gentle. I'd whisper to the ceiling. But this? It's eating me alive. Wellness shift. Lila's influence led to walks in the park, breathing exercises amid dogwoods. Inhale the hurt, exhale the hold, she'd coach over phone. Humor quipped. Breathing? More like huffing. These hot flashes got me exhaling fire. Small joys glimmered, a hobby to business spark, selling watercolors at the farmer's market, neighbors cooing over Charlotte's garden whispers. Income trickled, empowerment budding, twists ratcheted suspense. An overheard call at the grocery. Kendra to her therapist? She's toxic, always meddling. Boundaries save us. Toxic. Me. Rage flared. I gripped the cart, knuckles bone white. Later, therapy session, my first solo. I gave everything. Now, ghosts. The counselor's nod unlocked floods, regrets of sidelined dreams, widowhood's void. Resilience shines in naming it, she said. Practical wisdom, journaling prompts. What if forgiveness has fences? Loyal neighbor's subplot. Mr. Hargrove, that silver fox, invited me to a jazz brunch. Second chances deserve saxophones, he winked. We swayed to Coltrane, his hand brushing mine, warm, tentative. Elijah was my world. I confessed over beignet. But maybe, there's room for more. Humor-laced. Just promise no hip replacements cramping our groove. Laughter flowed, a bomb, but home alone doubt crept. Was this rebound or real? Despair peaked in a stormlit night. Power out, candles flickering, I unearthed Elijah's letters. Love notes from courtship, yellowed promises. Sobs racked, anger at Marcus. Your daddy'd roll in his grave. Suspense coiled, a knock at midnight? Dolores, pie in hand. Heard the thunder. Or was it your heart? We talked till dawn, her step-family tales mirroring. My boys' SIL iced me out. But I volunteered at the shelter, found purpose in pause. Glimmer. I signed up, walking shelter dogs, their wags chasing shadows. Isolation crested with a final twist. Anonymous tip from Mrs. Jenkins, Kendra's investor, was an old flame, whispers of affair. Overheard at the block party I'd skipped. Doubt nod. Motive for ousting me? I drove to the bakery, confrontation brewing, but chickened, resilience as retreat. Instead, tearful porch reflection in my complex's swing. Stars mocking, tears cooling on cheeks. Lord glimmers in the gloom, Jamal's hug, Hargrove's grin. But the solitude? It's a thief. Yet strength stirred. A call from Lila, Callie calls. Road trip? Solo travel tease, redesigning life. Humor. Me, a black grandma in Latina heaven? Will hot flash the beaches red. Hope flickered, quiet but fierce. Autumn leaves carpeted Atlanta's streets like faded memories as the climax barreled in. Relentless, raw. A whirlwind of confrontations that stripped me bare. October's chill mirrored my bones, but I'd armored up. Therapy notes in my purse, watercolors selling steady, Hargrove's texts a soft glow on my phone. Still, the echoes, whispers of warmth, crashes of betrayal, drove me to the edge. One crisp Saturday, suspense snapped. Jamal's school called. Emergency pickup, parents unreachable. I raced over, heart in throat, finding him huddled in the office, lip quivering. Nana! Collapse into hugs, his story tumbling. Mommy-daddy yelling, something about Nana's house. My blood iced. This was it, the final unravel. I brought him to my apartment, bubble baths and storytime a shield, but dread coiled. Evening fell, Marcus arrived, disheveled, Kendra trailing like a storm cloud. What happened? I demanded, Jamal asleep on my lap. Confrontation exploded in the tiny living room, voices ricocheting off walls. She's turning him against us. Kendra spat, eyes wild. Marcus, Ma, back off. Back off. The dam broke. Back off. I built your life. Forged loans wiped tears, and you evict me like trash. Tears streamed, raw and furious. Kendra's mask cracked. You smothered me. Like my mom, always fixing, never letting go. Therapy showed me, boundaries or break. Her trauma spilled, daddy's abandonment, mama's control, nuanced, humanizing, but no excuse. I was scared, she whispered. Scared. Of me. Marcus crumbled, silent no more. I stayed quiet cause. I failed you both. Failed dad's memory. Gut wrench, his guilt, my boy's fracture. We argued till hoarse. Highs of admissions crashing into lows of accusations. Twist, the investor? Yes, but platonic. Funds for expansion, not affair. Mrs. Jenkins gossip, a red herring. Relief mixed rage. Even lies chase me now. Jamal stirred, whimpering. Silence fell. I held him, rocking as they left, promises of talks, but echoes mocked. Dissent lingered, but resolution brewed bittersweet. Days later, tearful reflection on my old porch, visiting the sold house, now strangers' lights twinkling. Wind whispered regrets, sacrifices lost, but glimmers endured. Hargrove met me there, coffee in hand. Echoes fade, Charlotte. Make new ones. Our first kiss, tentative under magnolias, tasted of second chances, humor bubbling. 62 and smooching? Elijah's laughing upstairs. Self-love over perfection, yes. Climax peaked at Thanksgiving, my invite, tentative bridge. They came. Awkward feast, turkey carved with care. Jamal's hug bridged gaps. Kendra's quiet sorry over pie, my forgive but fence it. Marcus teared up. Ma, I was wrong. Silent coward. Reconciliation raw, no easy fix but boundaries reclaimed. Weekly calls, shared custody joys. Subplot closure. Dolores and Lila toasting at the table. Second act sweeter. Empowerment crested. Volunteering bloomed into art classes at the shelter. Dogs and paints my tribe. Health steady, pressure down, hot flashes tamed with yoga laughs. Aging as adventure. Planning Smokey's trip with Hargrove. Grandma's gone wild. Echoes lingered. Regret for lost warmth. but redemption in resilience. I stood taller, heartbroken but whole. The power play? Hers lost, mine found. Few loves if Charlotte's tales left you with that lump in your throat, the one that says, I've been there, poured out my soul just to watch it evaporate. Then lean in. Family bonds? They're the roots that ground us, but when kids or DILs or SILs start pruning too deep, it ain't betrayal's cartoon evil. It's fear dressed as ambition, silence born of shame. I learned, raw and ragged, that forgiveness don't mean forgetting. It's a garden gate, swung wide but latched firm. Reclaim your power, sisters. Therapy after 50? Armor-plated with wisdom. Set those boundaries like you're plotting a comeback tour. Solo travel to the Smokies, turning hobbies into hustles that light your fire. Loneliness in old age? It's the soil for second blooms, grandkid hugs that heal, dates with quips over coffee that remind you. You're the feast, not the side dish. Resilience shines brightest in the quiet angers, the tearful porches. Turn M to fuel. Age ain't decline. It's the adventure scripted by you. Hold your kin close, but your heart closer. You've earned the throne, queens. What's your echo? Share below. We heal in the telling. Darlings, if Charlotte's power play tugged at your heartstrings, drop your family story in the comments. That silent sun moment, the DIL boundary bomb? We're in this sisterhood together. Smash that like, share with a gal who needs the real talk, and subscribe for more raw confessions that hit home. Bell on, 'cause next up, a grandma's heirloom stolen by her own blood. The twist that'll have you gasping. See you in the echoes. Peace and power, y'all.